Okay, friends, onward. Motion in the causal body. Okay. Now that we have fed the lunar vehicles. We fed the lunar vehicles, haven't we? Yet again. You really all ought to come to Denmark. We eat a lot here. But not just what's good for us, either. I think there were some cookies and cake. I mean, it's been, what has it been, 2 hours since we've eaten? And now it's going to be another 2 hours before we eat again. What shall we do? Can we survive this? I know, I better be careful what I say. Yes, would you believe 400 and... You wouldn't believe it. No, actually, there's 14 at the moment. I know. But many more can register, just as long as they're not all on at the same time. But I'm sure that word of this seminar will travel around the world, and we will build steadily in the forthcoming days. We may get up to 18. Well, actually, the White Magic seminar, there were quite a few people, but I haven't reminded anybody recently. I could write out and say, we're doing this again, you know. But anyway, all of this will be recorded. It will be up on Makaro website, and you will be able to download it if you wish to review. All the pictures and everything, yes. Everything that is said, the screen, the occasional picture of me talking to you. You don't even need to come here. That's the whole point. I saw that coming. Okay. The food and fun, unfortunately, you're on your own. Yes, and as I was saying to my friends, and it seems you could walk away from the computer at any time without me knowing it. This is serious. But, if I really am telepathic enough, I can say, Okay, onward. So we have this consummatory vision. Each petal pulsates with quivering fire points, and each tier of petals vibrates with life, whilst at the center glows the jewel, raying forth streams of energy from the center to the periphery of the outermost circle. The numbers 7 and 8 are both associated with the jewel in the lotus. I believe it's a sevenfold jewel, which would make sense in terms of the rays, but from another point of view, it is spoken of 8 radiations. So we have to see how the 8 comes from the 7. The fires of living energy circulate around each individual petal, and the method of interweaving and the circulation of the fires is, as well as may be well realized, sevenfold in nature, according to the sevenfold nature of the logos involved. So, the divine geometry of the particular logos gives the method of the circulation of the fires. Yeah. Oh, what can't I spell? Gives the nature of the circulation of the fires. Each circle of petals becomes, as evolution proceeds, likewise active, and revolves around the central jewel, so that we have not only the activity of the petals, not only the activity of the living points or the deva lives within the circumference. Now that's one of the major definitions of devas, as living points. Okay, not only the activity of the living points or deva lives within the petal circumference, but likewise the unified activity of each tier of the threefold lotus. At a specific stage in evolution prior to the opening of the central veiling bud, the three tiers of petals considered as a unit begin to revolve, so that the entire lotus appears to be in motion. All petals, every circle of petals, and the three together, all together. And this is interesting, talking about the wheel turning on itself. At the final stages, the central circle of petals opens, revealing that which is hid, and revolves around the jewel, only in a contrary direction to the rapidly circulating outer lotus. So, which way? He doesn't say which way. One is clockwise, one is counterclockwise. Of course, the counterclockwise direction corresponds to the direction of the zodiac, and the clockwise direction to the direction of matter and personality. Maybe the outer is clockwise, but he does not say. The reason may not here be revealed, for it is hid in the nature of electric fire or spirit itself. Amazing. So let's just put this down. Contrary motion is hid in the nature of spirit. We see that there is a lot to interest us in the inner worlds, and it's even more filled with variety and interest than these outer worlds are. So, without ignoring our duties in the outer world, we should hasten inwards. How will we do that? Meditation, study, and service. I suppose in equal balance, but of course meditation becomes extremely important. But DK tells us that there's a point at which service is even more effectual than meditation, because all of our energies are mobilized in service. Okay, onward. The jewel itself remains occultly static and does not circulate. Here's where pulsation comes in. It is a point of peace, just like Shambhala is a point of peace, the only point of peace on our planet. It pulsates rhythmically, as does the heart of man, because in a way it is the heart of the lotus. And from it ray forth 8 streams of living fire, which extend to the tips of the 4 love petals and the 4 sacrifice petals. Now notice, by the time this consummation is taking place, the outer tier of petals is already disintegrating, and we are transcending knowledge. So it's not really counted. It's not counted. In other words, so there are only 4 love petals, the 3 love petals in the love tier, and the sacrifice love petal. There's only 4 sacrifice, the whole tier of sacrifice petals, and the love sacrifice petal. Okay, this 8-fold energy is Atma Buddhi. That's very interesting. Of course, it's taking place on the higher mental plane. I was just reading today, I ran over it, that where is the jewel in the lotus located? And it says it's located between Manas and Buddhi. interesting statement. Does that mean that its true place is on the first subplane of the mental plane, on the border of buddhi and the highest realm of manas? Because we're not given an alternative that it can be somewhere between the buddhic plane and the manasic plane. Anyway, between manas and buddhi is the location of the jewel. Okay, so, and this is interesting. There's so many ways that the causal body might disintegrate. This eightfold energy is Atma Buddhi. It is this final raying forth which produces the eventual disintegration of the body of the ego. So the jewel in the lotus is largely responsible for the dissolution of the egoic lotus, but not alone. There are other things that are responsible for it as well, namely the extreme activity of the atomic triangle, and namely the monad itself is involved in this process, as well as the Buddhic plane itself. So in different places he says what is responsible for the destruction of the egoic lotus, and we find that it comes forth from a number of locations, this destructive act. Again, there are different ways to destroy an egoic lotus. What do you prefer? Like they say, name your poison, you know. You can smash it. You can dissolve it. You can diversify it. You can harmonize it out of existence. You can Swiss cheese it. You can burn it. Or you can incant it. What would you like? It depends on the ray of your ego. So in a way you don't really have a choice, but I was pretending you did. Yes, sorry about that. A lot of people in here, being on the second rate type, will over-include until it falls apart. That's how he says you dissolve your, well, it's like dissolution, you know. I think it's, there's, you know, the egoic lotus has to go, but how will it go? And the key is what ray you are on. Okay. When the egoic ray is the second, or the love wisdom ray, the path of least resistance lies along the line of expansion, of a gradual inclusion. It is not so much driving forward, first ray, as it is a gradual expanding from an inner center to include the entourage, the environment, the allied souls, and the affiliated groups of pupils under some one master, until all are included in the consciousness. Carried to the point of achievement, this expansion results in the final shattering of the causal body at the fourth initiation. Yeah, that's the way to go. And maybe some of us are doing that even now, attempting to include until it can only hold so much and simply goes. Yeah. The expansion of the lower auric egg, the causal body. How interesting that the causal body is called the lower auric egg. What is the higher auric egg in that case? Are there any other vehicles around? Well, usually we think about, you know, our mental body, our astral body, That's the lower auric egg, right? But the causal body here is called the lower auric egg because the monadic body is a higher auric egg. It's all about eggs, isn't it? Hard-boiled or soft-boiled, breaking eggs. It all boils down to what happened to Humpty Dumpty. He sat on a wall. He had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty together again. We're looking forward to that. And then eventually the cosmic egg shatters too. And nothing puts it back together. So you get a new one. The universal egg is created. It's all about breaking out of shells, isn't it? Because that's what the second birth is all about. I mean, initiation. You're breaking out of various ring pass knots, various shells. Anyway. When the last egg breaks, what then? Well, what do you think? Join the hierarchy. Well, I'll tell you what, hierarchy is in an egg too. What? The, new eggs, last eggs, old eggs. Well, my theory, anyway, is that when the last eggshell breaks, that's the end of the universe. Then oh yeah, it comes back. New eggs. Well, it all boils down to which came first, the chicken or the egg. I mean, okay. But I think, frankly, the egg came first. That's been my solution to all of this. The egg comes first because, well, I'm speeding up time here a little bit, but if you want to know the secret, a lizard can lay an egg which becomes a chicken. Yes, I think I should repeat that. Okay. I'm talking about mutation. A lizard can lay an egg which becomes a chicken. Yes, symbolically. I'll retreat to symbolism. Yes. In other words, it's the egg due to mutation that comes first because the parent can be different from the offspring under mutation. Of course, I've collapsed time in saying that. It takes a very long time for that to happen. But anyway, every universe begins as an egg. And when it is broken, you have a return to the what? Well, the soul, I'm talking on a cosmic dimension now. And I would like to say, how many of you have read with enthusiasm the beginning of The Secret Doctrine? I had to throw in enthusiasm, you know what I mean? See, because if I said, how many of you have read, a lot of hands would go out and say, enthusiasm. Okay. Because it seems there's a problem there that the absolute is all there is, and it will tolerate no eggshells whatsoever, any formation whatsoever. So it's a return to no-thingness. No more eggs until the next time. Time, of course, doesn't exist, so what is the next time anyway? But that's what happens. That's it. That's the theory of reality in an eggshell. Okay. One would say nutshell, but, under the circumstances, eggshell is more appropriate. Really? And look what's happened to you. You thought it was what? You thought the Secret Doctrine was a fairy tale. Well, I'll tell you what. Well, that's good. Good. You didn't know it was difficult. Uh, Master Moria says that if something is a legend, it's true. So, okay, truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. And I think it reads like a good fairy tale. All those 27-foot tall men and higher and bigger and yes. Oh, she chose the secret doctrine from the public library because there were so many small books that were telling you how to read this book. Well, look, you have Jupiter and Gemini, don't you? Big book, like dictionaries. I'll tell you, you're on your way to omniscience, Let me know when you get there. Well, maybe that's true. There's only relative omniscience, isn't there, in any universe? In other words, how much of all possibility would you know if you knew everything there was to know in one universe? Yes, and it might go on for quite a while, as it has done forever. Anyway, we've just had a little vacation from reality here. So anyway, Atma Buddhi is the eightfold radiation, and this produces the eventual disintegration of the body of the ego. The number 8 is a destructive number, isn't it? Why? It is that, well, think astrologically for a minute. It's Scorpio's number, isn't it? It's Scorpio's number. It's connected with Pluto, isn't it? Then why is it connected with the Christ consciousness? Is the Christ consciousness destructive? Yes. Destructive of what? a lot of lesser things. Lesser desires, lesser loves, all that. Destructive of those things. Okay, the knowledge petals, not being the subject of the attention of this central fire, in due time cease to be active. That's very interesting. I was wondering how they began to disintegrate. They're not fed by the central fire because manas is considered passé. It's of the old. What they're interested in is Atma and Buddhi. Knowledge is superseded by divine wisdom, which is Buddhi. And the love petals have their forces equally absorbed into sacrifice. Naught is eventually left but the desire to sacrifice. And as the vibratory impulse is akin to the nature of the living jewel, because Vulcan rules the law of vibration, right? Vulcan and the law of vibration. Oh, how do you spell that? LV. Law of, yeah. It is synthesized in the central living unit, and only the jewel of fire remains. How can something be a jewel and fire at the same time? See, here's the thing. There can be forms of living fire, can't there? In other words, something doesn't have to be concrete to be a form, does it? In other words, a standing wave will produce a form of a certain kind. So even something fluid and in motion, like fire, can produce a form. This jewel is living fire in a certain form. Okay, so naught is left but the desire to sacrifice, and as the vibratory impulse of sacrifice is akin to the living jewel, because we are living stones, we are living stones, it is absorbed in the jewel. When all the petals have merged their forces elsewhere, the process of revelation is completed. The lower fires die out, the central fire is absorbed into the monad, and only the radiant point of electric fire persists, and that is, point of electric fire is the monad. Then a curious phenomenon is to be seen at the final initiation. The jewel of fire blazes forth as 7 jewels within the one. So there's the sevenfold jewel, yet it has 8 radiations. Okay. The jewel of fire blazes forth as 7 jewels within the one, thus related to 7 and to Vulcan, or as the sevenfold central electric spark. This is about the mystery of electric fire. Okay. And in the intensity of the blaze, thus created, is reabsorbed into the monad or the one. So we definitely have a sevenfold jewel. This process is paralleled at the final consummation of the solar system when the 7 suns blaze forth before the great pralaya. When the great pralaya occurs, does the universe disappear? What pralaya is being spoken of here, and why is it called great? On what level is this pralaya? This one. He basically says it, doesn't he? It's a solar pralaya. It's just our solar system, that's all. That's all, just our solar system. And yet he calls it the great pralaya. Well, there's the pralaya of many systems, of cosmic logoi and beyond. Do you think there are galactic pralayas? I suppose. On the, and of families of galaxies and so forth, and on the way to the one ultimate pralaya, about which you asked Martha, and I, felt free to stupidly comment, nothing left. That's it. Nothing but the no thing, which you can't name. All right, he gives us a marvelous consummation. All these modes of expression are but pictures which serve to convey some small idea of the beauty and the intricacy of the divine process as it is carried on in the microcosm and in the macrocosm. It must be that there is a sevenfold jewel in the lotus in the solar logos as well. Does the solar logos have a causal body? Yes. Does the solar logos have its own solar angel? Yes. Is it bigger than our solar angel? Yes. Does it come from a high plane? Real high. Really high. All these pictures serve to limit and circumscribe the reality, but to the man who has the divine eye and process of opening, what eye is that? Well, okay. It's probably more the eye in the center of the head, which is the true blue eye or eye of Shiva, and there is an expression of it through the brow, but it's really centered around the pineal gland. It's the area of the etheric brain which is enlightened. It's illuminated when the soul penetrates down into the middle of the brain. Okay, but for the one who has the divine eye and process of opening, and I also want to think about this idea of divine vision, and to him who has the faculty of higher intuition awakened, is there lower intuition? Such pictures serve as a clue or key to the higher interpretation. They reveal to the student certain ideas as to the nature of fire. What's this book we're reading all about? Yes, this book is about fire. Lest we forget. Very good, Mimi. That was good. I think so. Definitely the higher intuition at work there, not the lower intuition. Okay. Now, let's see if there's a little else here. Okay. In concluding what is to be said anent motion in the causal body, I would like to point out that it too, on its own plane, has three characteristics of inertia, mobility, and rhythm. What are these three called? The three what's-this? What are they called? Motion, mobility, and rhythm. Is this correct? Or is this correct? Good. It's not the gunas at all. All those. I'm sorry. Just have to see whether you're, awake. What is it? Was that water? Yes. Cheers. Cheers. No, there's nothing in it, really. Okay. The gunas. Inertia characterizes the stage prior to the revolution of the different tiers of petals. So tiers are circles. So there's probably inertia in relation to the first circle, the second, and the third. And this revolution only begins to be felt when the petals are becoming active. Okay, so after stimulation and organization. There are various stages by which the petals grow. So inertia is another name for inertia. In Sanskrit is, right? And then, right, okay. It might be stated that the passing of the pilgrim, that's us, the jiva, through the hall of ignorance corresponds to the period of egoic inertia. The personality can be very busy, running around, all kinds of active, but from the egoic point of view, it's the period of inertia. So let's just call it, what is it, sort of the hall of ignorance is inertia. During this period, the permanent atoms are the most noticeable points of light in the lotus. Right? How interesting. So we would say that the petals are less bright than the permanent atoms. They constitute the energy feeders of the petals. Now, we just read about this, didn't we? That certain streams of energy from the permanent atoms feed the petals. We were reading about where these petals are developed, right? So the members of the atomic, atomic triangle feed the petals. Okay, later, much later, what does it feel like to have lived thousands of lives? Just a question. I mean, do you ever sigh and feel tired? Another incarnation. Okay. Well, thousands of lives. Thousands. Some with very little progress. You know, might have been eaten by a wild animal before you could even walk. That's not much progress. But we did walk. Well, eventually you learned to run. They say the animals were quite predatory in those days, and a huge amount of life was lost to the animal kingdom, which is now the karma is the meat eating of that. That's how it goes. Anyway, later, as the pilgrim on the physical plane becomes more active, and the egoic lotus is consequently unfolding with greater rapidity, the stage of mobility supervenes, and the circles commence their revolution. Aha. So, revolution during Rajas. So, when there's no revolution, there's tamas. When there's revolution, there's Rajas. Now, let's tie in the numbers 700, 70, and 7. So maybe the tamasic period of inertia equates with the 700 incarnations, and the period of mobility with the 70. Let's see what else is coming. Yeah, this is it. Finally, when the man treads the path and his purpose is intensified, the central bud unfolds, the revolution is unified, and through the raying forth of the fires of the jewel, a specific rhythm is imposed upon the lotus, I suppose, according to Ray, and its energies are stabilized. Stabilization is what term? Correct? Sattva. Stabilization. So, this all fits very well because of the 777 incarnations. 7 represent treading the path, probationary path. Well, there are several reversals of the wheel, but I would say that sometime during the unfolding of the 5th petal, the first reversal occurs, and the solar angel takes its first real interest in the evolution of its reflection, the lower man. So that's the first reversal. It's not final, because the wheel is definitely turning clockwise very much as it's turning counterclockwise. So you have a conflicted life. But eventually the clockwise turning is overcome. And then it just turns counterclockwise, so to speak, just like the zodiac. Well, I think the number 7 has to be treated symbolically as the lives upon the probationary path. Of the 777 incarnations, he left out the initiations, the period of initiations. They are just, he ends with the probationary path. 7 lives, 7 symbolic lives. Is it that or more? And once when is the probationary path over? Well, taking the big point of view, believe me, at some point it's over. But even at some point, the universe is over. Now, if we mean by the universe anything whatsoever. I know this is a stretch, but not to go there. There have been infinitudinous universes without beginning and without end. So anytime you've experienced a universe, you've experienced infinitudinous universes before that. This is a very difficult problem. It just means it's always been happening. And I'm not sure it's possible to solve the chicken and egg issue in a beginningless, endless system. It makes one almost pause, you know. What was I talking about? I just abstracted out. Something happened. Yes? Oh, yeah. What will happen in Libra? With Leo rising, or in Leo with Libra rising or Leo rising. Yeah. Yeah, it's called the reversal of the wheel, but I guess what I was getting at is that there's a point somewhere between the second and third initiation in which the wheel is finally reversed, and you no longer have the impediments coming from your own nature. You may have impediments coming from the world, but you are no longer fighting the battle in your own nature, because you have made a decision in the desert to put Satan behind you, as it were. The world, flesh, and the devil are no longer the issue, and so now the wheel is thoroughly reversed. But that process of reversing may well begin with one of those incarnations of Libra, Leo, or Libra, Leo, or Leo, Libra. Whatever it is, Uranus is involved in the reversal. The planet Uranus, which is active in both of those signs. It's the hierarchical ruler of Leo and the esoteric ruler of Libra. And it causes what he calls a basic revolution, which means no more of this, a new way. So all of us, because we are interested in these matters and have been coming to this class against all odds, have in fact reversed the wheel preliminarily, although I doubt that many or any of us has reversed the wheel finally, which means there's no more opposition in your own system. Unless you're totally free of problems, I don't know. If you are, tell me how you did it. Clear? Clearish? Okay. Okay, so there is a rhythm coming through the jewel in the lotus. It's, you know, it's a pulsation, and it depends, I suppose, on the rhythm or nature of the planetary logos, who is our monadic prototype. Now, all of these are secret numbers and figures which really are behind how things work as they do. They are secrets of initiation. I'm remember that book called Esoteric Buddhism by Sinnett? Was it one of the early theosophists? So this man was questioning Master K.H., writing him letters, and K.H. would write back, whatever. And K.H. would sometimes say, I'm sorry, I can't answer you on that. You're asking one of the secrets of the sixth initiation. So our mind tends to run ahead of us in terms of what we want to know. Some of these things are big when it comes to knowing. What's the rhythm of pulsation of a particular type of jewel in the lotus according to its planetary logoic origin? That's a big question. Yeah. Sorry. By the use of certain terms, information is conveyed to the workers, capital W, of the planet, the Brotherhood of Light, as to the nature of the ego concerned, the quality of his ray, the number of his vibration, and the point of evolution attained. It will be apparent, therefore, why it is not permitted here to make public the names of the 7 rhythmic groups. Although, you know, I wouldn't put it past DK to put names in a totally different context without telling you, and you make the connection. Now, for instance, I don't know if this did happen, but he gives us the names of all the different types of monads. You know, he does do that. Have you seen that list? You probably have seen the list, haven't you? And 181 and 1082 of cosmic fire. Not only the names of all the different monads, but the names of all the different stages of monadic unfoldment. But you know, his method is to often give you the information you need in a place where you don't suspect it. And then you don't know how to connect it via Mercury to where it can be applied. One of the monadic groups is called the Sons of Heavy Rhythm. I figure every time a black car with shaded windows goes by and a boombox effect is causing a rocking in my car, I figure I'm in the presence of a son of heavy rhythm. I'm expecting there will be a group called the Sons of Heavy Metal soon. Yes. Here. Read every word. Exactly. Good catch. It is permitted, but not here. Right. Okay. We will write to him and say, where? Okay. So anyway, we are numbered. The hierarchy has our number. They know what we are. We don't yet know what we are. But it's coming. Okay. And what a surprise it will be. I oftentimes think that at the end of any life, you're put in a big movie house. You're the only one in the audience. And on the big screen, there it goes. Yes, actually there was a movie called Illusion with Kirk Douglas. And it's about a guy who was dying and he was seeing the record come of his life. And he was in a movie house and a couple of his dead friends were up in the projection booth with these big cans of film showing him everything. Well, we can look forward to that. You don't think you're going to get away without examining every split second, do you? That'll be a movie. Fortunately, it doesn't have to be rated because nobody else sees it. Okay. One of the effects produced in the lower body via the centers through the unified activity of the causal body is the coordination of the lower energies of the human being. How interesting that these are correlated. When you wonder, that person really looks like they're getting integrated, looks like they're getting their life together. It's because there is a unified activity in the causal body which is inducing this outer sense of control. These lower energies, as we know, demonstrate through the medium of three groups of centers in the three bodies. Like, are there chakras in the astral body? Are there chakras in the mental body? But now, are there chakras in the Buddhic body? Are there chakras in the Atmic body? Are there chakras in the monadic vehicle? That's another question. He didn't draw any on the maps, but I think there are. He says 35 vortices of force make a master. What's a vortice of force? What's a vortex of force? Is that chakra? Then I say 42 vortices of force make a Chohan, and 49 vortices of force make a Chohan of the 7th degree. So I don't think you can escape chakras, even if they're not all drawn on the maps. Okay. These lower energies are, he tells us, the three groups of centers in the three bodies, the etheric body itself, certain centers in the physical body, such as the pineal gland, the pituitary body, and the spleen. So these are important physical centers. Anyway, if you get your causal body together, you'll get your lower energies together. But on the other hand, if you get your lower energies together, are you getting your causal body together? Well, it works both ways, doesn't it? When you organize your life, try to live according to your higher values, accomplish something, Does the causal body, is there a good effect in the causal body? Absolutely. Exactly. The Eightfold Path builds the causal body, doesn't it? Absolutely. Of course, in a way, it's also applicable even after that. Remember the interesting thing, the Buddha was teaching arhats. That means his students were initiates of the fourth degree, or almost. That's a pretty high type of student, isn't it? See, who was the Buddha? Was he Prince Siddhartha or was he not? And I think there's a big mystery hidden there. Because Jesus was not the Christ, was he? Okay. All right, onward. Onward, onward. We are not here referring to the work of those centers as it is self-initiated, because inherent in their very nature, but of the effects to be seen in them as the three tiers of petals function with increased coherence. In other words, the centers will function because that is their nature. But in the causal body, when these motions, that's what we're studying, motion on the plane of the causal body, when these motions begin, these effects will be felt in our normal energy system, increasing unity and coherence. And the force latent in the jewel makes its presence felt. Okay. It might specifically be said that these effects show themselves in a threefold manner. First, they cause the group of wheels or centers on each plane or in each of the subtler vehicles to become fourth dimensional and to become wheels turning on themselves. And you can certainly understand that once in the causal body, the central tier and the other tier started turning in opposite directions, that it would have this effect in the lower vehicles. Now, I made a compilation on fourth dimensionality. Have I ever given that to you? Okay, whoever's making the list, put fourth dimensionality on the list. I'll give it to you. Before every initiation, certain chakras turn fourth dimensional or rotate upon themselves. Before the first initiation, it's the etheric chakras. Before, and I'm not even sure whether it's all of them. Before the second initiation, it is the astral chakras. And before the third, certain of the mental chakras, plus the wheel itself, I suppose. Secondly, they produce the orderly distribution of force by the forming of various triangles of energy within the bodies. This, page 170, the triangles of energy, cosmic fire. This has been earlier dealt with, and it is only necessary here to point out that it is the energy accumulating in the causal body, and from thence making its presence felt, which produces among the centers the esoteric circulation of force, which eventually links each center up in a peculiar geometrical fashion, thus bringing every part of the nature of the lower man into subjection. So, we want to say that geometry organizes the distribution of energy and subdues the lower man and his energies. Now that's all taking place according to what? According to your what ray? Monadic ray. The monadic ray holds the secret of the geometry. Now, you know what's very interesting? The monadic ray comes from the area of the cosmic physical plane where sound geometrizes. In other words, there are these 7 monadic groups. They each have their own sound. Each sound produces a certain geometry. So the monadic ray is what produces the geometry of circulation in your various vehicles. Does that have anything to do with triangles? With the earth healing and all that? Yeah, I would say, I, yes. Yeah, I would say that the whole idea of the triangles is putting man en rapport with the three Buddhas of activity, who are working very much in Shambhala, of course, but in relation to the Atmic plane, where the triangle is a very important figure. I would say that we don't know the specific kinds of triangles related to each one of the seven rays, because that's a special geometric configuration. In general, we have the equilateral triangle, isosceles triangle, and what do they call it? What's the third kind? I can't remember. Scalene. In other words, it's uneven. Equilateral triangle, every side even. Isosceles, two sides even. This third kind of triangle, all sides uneven. But I would say that probably according to the angular measurements, that will determine the type of triangle involved. Also, we don't know when on the monadic plane those seven notes are sounded out, does it produce only triangles or other figures? We also know that there are 5 platonic solids and not more, but some of these archetypal figures will be produced by sound. And geometry controls. In other words, if you have a sounding geometry, it gets everything else into line. So there are these esoteric circulations of forces. What are we studying here? The effects of the causal body on the lower energies, fourth dimensionality, geometrical orderly division of forces. Thirdly, they bring about the stimulation of certain of the glands in the body, which are deemed at present purely physical, and thus enable the solar angel to grip and hold to his purpose the dense physical body. Presumably, among these, we will find the pineal gland, and probably the pituitary gland, and probably the carotid gland, or glands. Sorry. But there are others as well. Thymus is another. So, grip and hold. What planet are we talking about? When we talk about grip and hold, what planet are we talking about? Fist. Vulcan. When the soul grips the personality, it is Vulcan at work. Vulcan rules what chakra in general in the human being, the advancing human being? Yes, it rules the head. Hey, he just says head center. So is it the heart in the head? Is it the head? Or is it the 7 centers in the head? It's the head. Probably the head is one thing, but it's divided into different parts and different planetary assignations. So Vulcan, via the head center, grips the instrument. And then you begin to follow a certain kind of will, which is called spiritual will. Vulcan and spiritual will, right? Okay. And this is at a certain stage of evolution. So from the causal body comes the rearrangement of the lower bodies, of the energies of the lower bodies. Okay. It may be helpful if the student bears in mind the fact that every center may be considered as an evidence of solar fire, solar energy or fire, manifesting as a medium of lower energy or fire by friction. In other words, chakras come first from the monad and thence from the ego or soul. Chakras are whirls of force in lower matter induced by a higher energy. Ultimately, it comes from, I think, the phohatic or circulatory energy, which is part of the monad's type of motion. So, from the monad are the potentials for different kinds of motion. One type is the circular motion of the chakras. Ultimately, chakras are a monadically induced type of motion. Where these centers exist, the solar angel is enabled gradually to impose his rhythm and vibration, which is like seventh ray and first ray, maybe Vulcan and Uranus, upon that which vibrates to what is regarded as a lower rhythm. So evolution is about the imposition of a higher rhythm upon a lower rhythm. You know how it is, a misbehaving child is in his environment. Then he's removed from that environment into the presence of those who behave and are, magnetic. Before long, that induction of the new rhythm will occur in the child's life under ideal circumstances. Look at us. We are human beings. We've lived our life as personalities, etc., etc. Now we come under the training of the masters. Do they begin to rub off on us a little bit? Does their rhythm begin to be imposed upon our previous personality rhythms? That's the whole purpose of spiritual training. Rhythmic induction. It's a big seventh ray thing. But Vulcan is involved because Vulcan is the planet of impression. It forces a pattern, a new pattern upon an old. Vulcan does that. And that's what's called a grip of the soul, gripping the personality. He gradually swings the entire lower form substance into his control. Let's see where we are here. Oh. Well, I think I can see where to read until, and then we'll have our little review and our final test, which will determine whether you can continue in this class. For some, it will be a welcome exit. Don't worry, it won't be too hard. It'll, be like, give the definition of the word soul. Something like that. Something with only one answer. Okay. Before the final liberation, but after the major part of the purificatory and aligning processes are complete, the vehicles of the initiate, because that's what he is by this time, present a wonderful appearance due to the streams of energy from the causal body which can reach him. So even the lower vehicles present a wonderful appearance. Are they what? Are we sure? Okay. I hope I'm hearing properly. The egoic lotus is unfolded, and the central fire is displayed. Each petal and each circle of petals is pulsating with life and color, and is in active movement, revolving with great rapidity, and with the stream of living energy, one stream, circulating in every part of the lotus, like one stream in every part of the lotus. I'm running out of voice, you'll be happy to know. The three permanent atoms glow and blaze and form, through their rapid revolution and interplay, what appears to be a blazing point of fire, just one out of the three, so that it has been called at times the reflection of the jewel in the mother's forehead. So is the Ajna center involved. So in other words, we have the jewel on its own plane, the monadic jewel. We have its reflection called the jewel in the lotus, and now we have the lesser reflection formed by the maybe that medicine is working. Formed by the three members of the atomic triangle, which form a single point called the reflection of the jewel in the mother's forehead. The 18 centers on the three planes, 4 on the mental and 7 on each of the 2 lower planes, are radiant wheels of fire, each group distinguished by a specific color, and maybe according to ray or plane, and revolving with such rapidity that the eye can scarce follow them. The inner eye, of course. The bodies are formed of the highest grades of substance, of atomic ethers, in the case of the lower 2 planes, mostly. Each individual atom, therefore, being capable of intensified vibration and glowing with the light of its own central fire. This makes me think that every one is happy. The etheric body especially is to be noticed, as it is the transmitter at this stage of the purest type of prana, as there are a number of different pranas that are possible, and this is a high form, and deserves the name sometimes given to it of the body of the sun. Now, when is this? This is before liberation, right? This is an initiate about to be liberated. So what did it say here of him? Before the final liberation, but after the major part of the purificatory and aligning processes are complete. So between the third and the fourth. Yeah. You'll have to wait till the end of the week to look like this. But be careful, because cake and cookies can stop it. Okay. The body of the sun. It is the envelope which holds the fires of the microcosmic system. In it are centered not only the pranic fires, but those 7 centers which are the transmitters of all the higher energies from the ego and from the 2 higher material bodies. So how interesting that energies from the astral body and mental sheath are manifesting in the etheric body. They are not just confined to themselves. They work out in the etheric body too. The etheric energies and the astral and mental energies are working out through these chakras in the etheric body. All is centralized, and the etheric body, etheric vehicle, waits for use on the physical plane in cooperation with the dense medium until the man can succeed in linking the consciousness of the two aspects of the dense body so that the continuity is preserved. All is centralized in cooperation with the dense medium until the man can succeed in linking the consciousness of the two aspects of the dense body so the continuity is preserved. So we repeat what we did in ancient Lemuria, like ancient Lemuria, but with full consciousness. The work is accomplished. This is a body of living fire is created. Right around page 166 of Cosmic Fire, right in there. Body of living flame is created. The three centers which are of a strictly physical nature, the pineal, the pituitary, and the spleen, themselves become so radiant, luminous and radiant. And all the fires of the body are so stimulated that the atoms which form the physical sheath appear to radiate. Sounds like the makings of a halo to me. Atoms radiate. This is the occult truth behind the belief that every messenger from the lodge and every savior of man is naturally a healer. Healer, psychologist. When we develop, these potencies are expressed in a natural way. We don't just have to study to do them, we are them. The forces which flow through a man whose atom centers, sheaths, and causal body form a coherent unit. All of them, look, all of these from the tiniest to the top, in full and radiant activity are such strength and purity as to have a definite effect upon the nature of those they contact. So, it is sometimes seen that those people who do not think of themselves as healers, people are healed in their presence simply because of their radiation. And there's no fast way to do this. Every step has to be followed so that the purification occurs and the radiation becomes a natural expression. They heal, stimulate, and increase the vibration of their fellow man. Have you been in the presence of those who have helped you feel higher? Have you been in the presence of those whose presence is a downer? I remember a story back in a church I used to work in, and this guy was sick in the hospital, and one of the ministers was sent to visit him, and afterwards says, "Never send that minister to me again." It was one of those cases of he was sick enough as it started, and by the time he was finished, because people carry something with them, don't they? The doom and gloom, or they carry something you just feel better in their presence, and that is ultimately what you call darshan, isn't it? When some of the great masters, or even the ones that right here on earth, you can pass before us. They don't say a thing, but their radiation does it. So let's see where we are, because we have to pause. All this must be somewhat realized and visioned before a man on the physical plane will be willing. This is why DK is giving this to us, to undergo the purifying discipline and tread the path whereby he finds his center and works from the standpoint of power. In other words, why is he bothering to give all this to us? It's so that we will be willing to undergo what we have to undergo. The incentive has to be so great that we will see what lies ahead and be willing to go through the many difficulties and sacrifices required to do this. Does that make sense? He has to align these various factors or energy centers and thus bring on to the physical plane power to be used in the healing of the nations. So he's starting to expand the dharma of this type of individual to say that such an individual is of national moment. When you can do this, when your causal body is coordinated, when it's coordinating all your lower vehicles, you have a community, a group, a national effect. When the glory of a man's inner God is seen, when his radiance shines forth, then it will be said of him as of those who have preceded him along the path, then shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. Now, you read that in the Bible and you say, well, that's nice, Jesus is good and he heals or something. But this is about everybody who can go through this, and because he's a fourth degree initiate, he has wings. He's a deva. That's when you get your wings, at the fourth degree. Like Tuya likes to say, before that, you're just an elemental in the eye of the Solar Logos. After the fourth degree, you're a deva. You get your wings. Elementals mostly walk. Or swim or something, but they don't fly. Okay, and I think we're at that point where we've read about what I hoped we would read today, and I'm at the point of being able to ask you what stood out for you today, what you may have learned, what stuck with you. This is what stuck day one. In big letters, what stuck day one. Well, there's so much in this book, and everything is related to everything else, and you can read it in such a way that it really illumines your mind and expands your consciousness. And then maybe, if I can, I don't know how many of our group on the webinar has been with us, for how long. The numbers are up. We're up to 18. It looks like, however, Nicholas may be signed in twice. Wait a second. No, he removed that. Okay. So good. We have a few people with us from the U.S., where the hour is now reasonable, and from Finland, and Nicholas appears to have the thing on, and I think Australia has gone to sleep. Okay. For the best part, Okay, anyway. So I will ask you here first, did anything stick? Too many laws, did you say? Oh, the laws. Okay, so the cosmic laws and laws of the solar system. Yeah. Well, that's only 10. And then don't forget the 7 laws of the soul and the laws and rules of healing. Then there are the rules of white magic. And let's not forget the 14 rules for the disciple and also for the initiate group. I believe there is a Saturnian aspect to our teaching. Follow these rules and you might get somewhere. But of course we have to learn them first. That stretched on the wheel bit. Willing to be stretched on the wheel. And I want to say that that's the law of cycles, because the wheel turns. But also the wheel of rebirth. Consciously, CNSL, undertaken. Not just by chance. Okay. Willing to be stretched on the wheel. I think that's a great sentence to be pondered, don't you? Willingness to be stretched on the wheel until you become the complete circle yourself. and your hands grasp your feet. You know what I mean? You become the wheel and encompass it and have gone through all the signs of the zodiac, and let me say successfully, like Hercules. So that, to be stretched on the wheel can mean many things. Because eventually we have to go through all of the astrology of the zodiac, don't we? Successfully. For some of us, Scorpio lies ahead. And there's, you think so? Could be, yes. Yes, interesting. Monad. Okay, monad has two rays, but the second part that you added, I did not mean to emphasize. If I emphasized that, I misspoke. Because the monad's two rays, that's right. The monad's two rays apply to the human being directly. But the solar angel must be of the ray type, which fulfills the intention of the monad through the soul. In other words, solar angels have rays, and we have rays, and we are not solar angels. So solar angels have rays, and we have rays, and we are not they. So if they're going to help us, their ray has to correlate. Whoopsie. Okay. Wait a second. We have to make sure that I really said that. They fulfill the intention of the monad. They don't grip anything except us. In other words, if the monad is going to make its full impression on the lower planes, they need the solar angel as a bridge. Oh, I thought I heard the word grip. Sorry. It's a isolated world back here. Bridge, good. Bridge. Solar angels are a bridge. And work under what law? The fourth law of the system. Yeah. And they also are related to each of the laws of the soul. We're going to study the laws of the soul from a higher perspective as a unity, hopefully sometime in this class. It's one of the important sections. I'm not sure we have studied the creative hierarchies as they are given in Cosmic Fire yet. But that would, everybody looks at the hierarchies. Of course, it's a mysterious area and would like to study them. But I think we will discover that there are more things that we don't know than that we do. What else? Yes. Whip yourself into shape. Oh, I like that. I like that too. I know it makes one sound a bit like a flagellant, but let's see, whip into shape. Let's see if I can find the quote. Okay, whip, whip, whip. Whip. Pain is the whip. Whip up resentments, and no, I'm not finding it, but it's here. Pain is the whip. It's here. I didn't dream it. Okay. Whipping. Whipping up. Coaxing and whipping. It's here. I will find it. I may have erased it. It's such a good term. It can't be gone. Okay. It's there. Okay, maybe just the word into shape. That might do. Let's see what forces sweep into shape. Let's see. Which molds it into, molding is nice, but not quite as good. Oh, yes. I'm glad I'm not totally out of it. Yes, but have not yet whipped the lower nature into shape. I was beginning to doubt my own reading. But you know, you kind of remember something like that because it has a certain sting to it. You know what I mean? It just it's like DK has lost patience with the lower nature or with those who love their lower nature too much and says, come on, when are you finally going to do it? So there it is, the last one, whipped, have not yet whipped the lower nature into shape. Okay, good. Other things. Yes, yes. Again, did you have another? Okay. Don't give people all points. Don't give people all knowledge. He says it something creates weaklings. That's Moria. And to give all is to put on chains. So I'll bet you think that I've given you every point in today's discussion, but I really haven't. There are some things that remain unsaid. Yes. Geometry. Let's see, boy, I hate to write this down. Geometry organizes the distribution of energy according to the monadic ray. Yes, that's a very interesting idea coming from the... It's okay, dear. I'm almost finished. Really, I'm almost finished. The sevenfold geometry of the monadic plane. It's said of plane number, it's said of the second ray. What is the famous statement about the second ray relating to geometry? It's two words. Well, meticulous entirety is also there, but it is said God geometrizes. This is the formula for the second ray. God geometrizes. And the monadic plane is the second ray. So let's just say God geometrizes, and that's the second ray. Okay. Okay, anything else that we might like to remember? What about Fohat? Where does he live? Okay, well, Fohat is equivalent to Brahma, is cosmic Brahma. So he is the god of cosmic electricity. And he is equivalent also to Agni, which is the personality of the Solar Logos. Okay. Electricity. How do you spell that? Electricity. Okay. Yes, I don't know. Fohat is rather mysterious. He gets around. Fohat gets around. You know, it's just tends to be ever moving. As Blavatsky calls him, protean. He changes shape all the time in his activity. Fohat. I have a compilation on Fohat. Does anybody want the compilation on Fohat? If so, you have to write it down, all in the same place. Who's taking down the compilations that you might want? Anybody doing that? Otherwise, I've forgotten what I promised. Nobody remembers. I've already offered you 2 compilations today. You writing them down? Very good. Very good. That Taurus energy, okay. Fohat, compilation on Fohat coming. Yeah, Fohat has 3 faces. You know, he's power, he's love, and he's activity. Every one of those beings, cosmic Brahma, cosmic Vishnu, cosmic Shiva, has 3 faces. Okay, what else? Key symbols. Yes, that the movements of divine energy make key symbols, including in the petals. Interesting, right? Yes. Yes. Only the sacrifice petals are touched or open under the stimulation of the rod of initiation. Yes. In other words, the final opening of petals 7, 8, and 9 are all the result, partial result of the rod initiation and extreme strenuous effort by the man himself, who is finally sick and tired of not having gotten there. Thank you. Thank you very much. This looks good. Probably too late to save him, but it looks good. Anything else? Yes. Okay. Yes, out of substance. And the flower-like form is molded by the substanding presence of the solar angel. It could, yes, it creates a vehicle of expression, or what kind of place? Yes, yes. Which is the flower vehicle for the monad. It's a very nice flower boat, you know. It always worked out, very cooperative. And on the long term. Yes. The solar angels come in to build a bridge which allows the monad and the lower man to connect and coordinate. Solar angels are messengers of the solar logos, arriving on each planet when the planet is ready to open the planetary heart. Yes, yes. Solar angels have saved modern man millions of years. Yes, solar angels incorporated Jiffy evolution will save you time in your evolutionary process. Well, it's an immense sacrifice, I guess. Huh? Just now, of course, we will get our chance, won't we? Because those who are off to Sirius will return for the current animal evolution as solar angels. So, or whether it will be the current animal evolution or an evolution that is animal at that time, we will have the opportunity in the new solar system to act as solar angels on a still higher turn of the spiral. Because it is said that solar angels are initiates of all degrees, but all degrees in the previous solar system are not necessarily all degrees in this solar system. So maybe it makes sense. More initiations can be taken in this solar system than in the previous solar system. Okay, anything else? Do you have enough to think about today? Yes, yes. Okay, leave your imagination open to know or receive the true need of another. Yeah, that's very important. One of the highest psychic powers, sensitivity to the true need of another. That's, if you really think about that, usually when we think about psychic powers, we think about seeing something, hearing something, doing something, and this is a major psychic power for disciples, sensitivity to the true need of another. Think what's involved in that, how much heart-center development is involved in that, and even the higher part of the solar plexus. You had Bridget. Okay, well, maybe let's see if anybody in the listening group wants to say something. And okay, you all, now don't run away. There's 19 or 20 of us here, and we'd be happy if you're present to have you leave an impression or say something. I'll turn this on so that your words can be heard. Of course, I realized I said to you, stay signed in, so none of you may really be there. But you are. Okay, now hopefully, wait a second. Okay, hopefully I can be heard, and let's see. Andrew, are you there? Hello, Andrew. Okay. Bye, Andrew. He's in Melbourne, Australia. Let's see. I hope I'm doing this correctly. Otherwise, I may be asking them if they're there and then not giving a chance to speak. Okay, Anu, you're in Estonia. Do you have anything you would like to say? Well, of course, people may be shy. Hello, hello, someone. Uh-oh, there's a problem here. I can't get everyone to unmute. Now, Brett usually has a lot to say, but I can't. I have an idea. I'll make him a panelist. Are you sure you want to make Brett a panelist? Yes. Okay, let's try that. Okay, but I still can't unmute him. No. All right, that's too bad. Carol, you're in Australia. Hi, are you there? Hi, are you there? Hello, Carol. Hello, Carol. Okay, maybe it's just an attack of shyness. Of course, on the other hand, I may be talking to myself. Celeste, you're in New York. Are you there? Are you there, Celeste? Wait a second. Maybe I better stop this. Can you hear me? Celeste, are you there? No? Okay. Here's Donna. I think she's in North Carolina. Are you there, Donna? No, I'm not. If I was playing baseball, I wouldn't be having a very good batting. Wait a second. Elena, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Elena is there. Oh my goodness, Elena is there. Now, Elena, we wish you were here, but you're kind of here anyway. is there anything that struck you today from what we've been talking about?
Yes, I have one point which struck me as confirming something for myself.
Confirming something for us.
When we were talking about the mental permanent atom,
Mental permanent atom?
yes, the devas of the mental permanent atom which came from the old system.
From the old system, from Saturn.
Yes, and from Saturn, yes, relation to Saturn. Now, if you remember, I have always considered the mental permanent atom to be ruled by Aries.
Ruled by Aries, you say?
Yes, Aries is the higher mental plane. You know, from the plane of mind, I come and rule.
Okay.
Now, Saturn, in relation to this karma and the devas of the mental permanent atom, you know, Saturn falls in Aries.
Saturn falls in Aries.
Where the karma must eventually fall, and obviously the karma falling also of the old system.
Okay.
That there is a relation here between this karma of the old system and a disciple who is entering the cardinal cross where the karma is ending also.
Okay.
And as we have at this moment Uranus, which is the esoteric ruler of Libra, and Saturn rules Libra and the atomic plane, we have a connection between the Saturn and Uranus opposition from the Aries to Libra, involving the initiating energy, also the atomic will here with the Saturn Libra rulership. And so I found this very interesting as the initiating of a new cycle where some kind of process of working with the old karma, even of the old system in some way, during this very important entry of the Uranus in Aries, where Uranus is of course also the hierarchical ruler. So we have a number of connection here in relation also to this mental permanent atom, which for me, it's confirming the Aries rulership of this energy.
Okay. That's very interesting and makes up for all the other people who didn't answer. Thank you, Elena. That's something to really think about in terms of the period we're in at the moment and the coming up of the old first solar system karma, which is very present in that area of the world where a major kind of revolution is occurring.
Exactly.
And Elena, everyone here sends greetings to you. I will try to manipulate. No, I didn't. But wait a second. Hold on. I know what to do. Never mind. They all send greetings to you, Elena.
I can see them greet everybody.
Yes, that's so nice. Okay. Wish you were here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elena says.
I have enjoyed the presentation very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Glad to have you with us. Now, I'll move on to see if Eva is with us. Eva, are you there? Canada, Eva, calling Eva in Canada. Oh, Eva, I know you would be there if you were there. Okay, we have someone new here. Gary Fung, are you there? Hi, Gary, and bye. And Gary Smith. Hello, Gary, are you there? Okay. Joe Waltz in Minneapolis area. Are you there? Hey, Joe, you're there.
I
Wow.
am here.
Hello,
Good
Joe.
morning, or, yeah, good afternoon or good evening to you all.
Well, we're all in the afternoon kind of here. Is there anything you would like to remark about in terms of what you may have heard today?
I think that there is particular new learning for me on Vulcan and the relationship, and I have a phone going on in the background.
Okay. Well, there's some important things about Vulcan. So you have a phone going off, but I appreciate you mentioning that. Maybe we'll have a chance to come back to you.
I hope so. Thank you.
Okay, Joe. Nice to talk to you. Okay, Johanna, are you there? It only takes a few people saying, yes, I'm actually here, to give the others courage. Okay. Johanna, okay? Leslie, you gave me a quick note the other day. Are you there? Okay, hi, Leslie. Bye. Maribel. Is it Maribel Knudsen? Are you there? Wait a second. I'm approaching NN. Who could that be? NN. Whoa, who could that be? But let's see. Is he there? NN? Are you there? He's there. Hey, wait a second. Here's the group. Now, hold on. The group is saying hi. There's the group. Okay, they're saying hi. They were saying, wish you were here. Why can't we talk about the Pleiades some more? Okay, was there anything you would like to remark about? Whoops. Are you there, NN? Was that me? No, he said, I'm here, didn't he? Did he not? No, that's my echo.
So why did you echo?
Well, can it be that he was never there, but it was just my echo? Wait a second. Hello, are you there? Well, that's embarrassing. Okay. Maybe he was never there after all. Well, Tuya, I should ask you if Risto, he would have to translate into Finnish. Risto is there too. Maybe. Risto, how do you say, are you there? Oletko siellä? Risto. No. I think listen, they're making you look good, you know, at least you're here. No, I did put in the names, dear. I unmuted them. I'm unmuting.
But what about if the person has muted themselves at home? Because I do.
Oh.
And when you put unmuting, then it takes about some seconds.
It takes a little while to unmute.
Yeah.
Listen, okay. Tuya says that you might be muted and it may take you longer to unmute. I'm trusting that is the case.
Because we don't see that these who are at present.
But I've made it possible. Now you can. Because sometimes
It's when you come along and then it takes the last version. So we actually don't see all the time.
Well, maybe not.
And that's why I don't know when your turn is. Maybe.
Okay. Well, I'll try to improve that. We'll talk about it. Vadna, Sue, are you there? Sue, are you there? Mexico? Calling Mexico. Okay. You're part of the silent majority, you know. Hello. Okay. And Vern, it's early. Vern, are you there? Hello, Vern.
Yes, and I just want
Oh, hey, Vern. Hello. You're one of the few.
Thank you very much for doing this. I will be studying with you all week long as I continue also with the university work. Thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you, Vern. I'm glad that you were able to be with us. And we have another 4 days of this together. And I probably pointed out, this is the group, and this is our teaching room here. This is our happy group. You're happy, aren't you? You're happy, right? You're happy. They're very happy. Okay. Thank you, Vern, for being with us, and we'll see you tomorrow in the sign-in. All right, we'll continue with this subject and then go on to some other things about the laws of the soul. Okay, thank you. All right, everybody, so good. And when we did white magic, we had a lot of people talking up, but it could be the subject is a little daunting, perhaps. So I'll work with Tuya on this business of how to help people unmute faster. Okay, everybody, let us do the mantram of the new group of world servers and call it a day. We know that mantram, don't we? Okay. May the power of the... Okay. Here we go. Correct. There it is. Some of you know this by heart, and others can just read it. Okay. We'll start with an Om and end with an Om. May the power of the one life pour through the group of all true servers. May the love of the one soul characterize the lives of all who seek to aid the great ones. May I fulfill my part in the one work through self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. Okay, everybody, thank you. And tomorrow we will, there's a bit more on the groups and their alignments. A bit more, I think, at least one session. And then we'll get into other interesting things. What are you going to do tonight for fun? You say you want more? Is that what? Okay, because I know how this room is, after class is over, all the serious business really starts. And of course these 5 people, they never leave their place. They just sit there. Actually, I think it's the glue on the chair, I think. It's something like that. Okay, webinar folks. If you can join us tomorrow, it's the same sign-in. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you tomorrow. Good evening, good morning, good night, whatever. 7:37? Well, tomorrow, you can think of being here at 7:37, but we'll probably start around 7:45. That's right, we start, at 5:45 Greenwich Mean Time. 5:45. Okay, y'all, we'll see you. Have a good day, evening, night.